matchup Sunday with Jags All-Pro corner Jalen Ramsey. Check out this Throwback Thursday video that Hop tweeted. Looks like from his high school days in South Carolina. High pointing the ball, making the nasty one-handed catch.
And this is in practice too. Tell from the jerseys and the helmets. That is, man, this guy has been unbelievable.
All you got to do is just throw it in his general vicinity. He's going to come down with the catch. I mean, arguably the best hands in the National Football League right now. He's unbelievable.
Sometimes we look at these football players and they're like, oh, we're so good. They were great little kids, great in high school, great in college.
At what age did you know it was really on the board you're going to be a pro athlete?
I was a little different. I wasn't a big-time recruit, so it was once I got to college that I realized I could hang with those guys. But sometimes when you go out to these high school football games, especially when I'm out in Jersey watching high school football, you can tell the kids.
That's what I was saying. Like D-Hop, it was on the board for D-Hop by the time he was probably in 8th grade. That there was if things went right, if he had some good breaks, if he didn't get hurt, that he could be exactly where he is.
Yeah.
He's
For
been
Chris Canty, shortly after birth, they were like, that is some baby. Time for stories to start your morning. I don't know what that means either. In my head, it sounded fantastic.
Go ahead. Don't worry about it.
Last night, the Panthers suffered their second loss of the season, falling to the Bucs. Carolina criticized for this play call while trying to pick up the 4th down. All right, Nick, what did you take away from last night's game?
All right, so there's two major takeaways. One is on Cam. Cam is either significantly injured in multiple parts of his body, shoulder still healing and foot, or he's cooked. I don't believe he's cooked. I believe he's hurt. The other takeaway is despite how poorly Cam played, despite how poorly the offense played, if they just sneak the damn ball, we're talking about a 21-20 Carolina theft of a win. That's what we should be talking about this morning. Instead, they run some Fugazi Philly special, and they end up losing a home game to Tampa.
Yeah, sometimes you can get too cute for your own good, and that clearly happened with North Turner with the play calling right there. But the Carolina Panthers offensive line is absolutely awful. We thought it could be bad after that 3rd preseason game up in Foxborough, but I mean, it is awful. Unless they get that fixed, it's going to be hard for this team, for Cam Newton to get on track.
All right, moving on to Antonio Brown. He's been practicing with the Patriots despite his off-the-field issues. Now, on the field, AB's expected to make his debut with the team on Sunday against, as Chris Carter calls it, the JV Miami Dolphins. Nick, how much do you expect from Antonio on Sunday?
Well, listen, of course the Patriots are going to play him. I mean, the Patriots, Patrick Chung's still playing. He's waiting on a coke charge. Like, they're not so worried about off-the-field issues as long as you're available. I think Antonio probably 20 snaps, maybe 5 to 7 targets at the most. I don't think you're going to see a super high-level production from Antonio Brown. I do wonder if they use him as a punt returner. Now, they got this new kid that replaced Edelman that's been quite good, but if AB's not going to be getting 15 targets, you could get the ball in his hands as a punt returner. But I think this will be his least productive moment with the Patriots because he just got there.
Yeah, he's going to have a limited package going into this game. It's hard to absorb the full playbook in just 1 week. What I'm interested in seeing is how Bill Belichick is going to use him in their offense. Is he going to be the X? Is he going to be the Z? Is he going to be the slot? Like, what are they planning on getting from Antonio Brown from a production standpoint? They lost Rob Gronkowski, who was a huge part of what they did in the passing game over the middle of the field. Maybe Antonio Brown can help offset that and give them some production in that area.
All right, let's move on to the Jets. Man, it's a tough day yesterday. Sam Darnold has already been ruled out Monday against the Browns. He was diagnosed with mono. The Jets did get a little better news with regards to Le'Veon Bell. The MRI that he had on his sore shoulder did show no tear. He says he's good to go against Cleveland. But Kenny, is this game as good as over without Sam Darnold?
Well, listen, they're going to start Trevor Siemian. His last start was Week 15 in 2017 against the Colts. He got knocked out of that game, but he didn't look good. He was off to a terrible start. I think he had a 39 passer rating before he exited.
Not great.
So I don't have a whole lot of confidence for the Jets going up against the Browns, especially the way that the Browns are going to come into this game. They're upset about being embarrassed, losing by 30 at home. So it's going to be an uphill climb for the New York Jets. I don't know if they can get it done.
If I told you before the season there was going to be one team in the NFL that in week 1 blows a 16-point lead to a team whose quarterback has 4 turnovers by himself, and in week 2 their quarterback is ruled out with mono, would your number 1 pick be the Jets?
Oh, absolutely.
Because my number 1 pick would be the Jets.
It'd be the Jets.
Now, as far as Simeon goes, that final start notwithstanding, I actually think Simeon is a well above average backup quarterback, and I don't think the drop-off between Darnold, where he is right now, and Simeon, where I last saw him, is that significant. I think Darnold obviously enormous, much more potential, but I thought the Browns were going to win this game anyway. Now they are obviously in a far better position to win it. For the Jets, though, this might not just be a 1-week absence for Sam Darnold.
All right, moving on to the Steelers. They host the Seahawks on Sunday on Fox, looking for their first win on the year. That after getting blown out by the Patriots in their season opener. They spent all week telling us they're, quote, foaming at the mouth to get back out there this week. Pittsburgh favored by 3.5 over Seattle, that according to Fox Bet. Here's Mike Tomlin ahead of Sunday's matchup.
We're ready to move forward and prepare for this next opportunity. I just think that's reflective of the journey that is a season in the NFL. At times you're going to have some negativity, man, and have bad performances potentially. You better not stack them on top of each other. You better transition and move forward. And so this is going to be a big challenge for us in that regard this week as we center our focus and get singly focused on our next challenge, which is Seattle.
All right, Kane, to start with you, you think the Steelers get back on track against the Seahawks?
Yeah, I think they get back on track, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Big Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers always struggle when they go into Foxborough. I don't think they're going to be the team that we saw on Sunday night going up against the Patriots. I'm not sure what the Steelers are going to be in 2019, but I'm sure that there'll be a version that's better than what we saw. So I think that they'll figure some things out on the offensive side of the ball. They're leaning on Ben to be able to make everybody around him better. They've got to develop those young receivers, try to find who's going to be the number 2 for their number 1 option, which is Juju Smith-Schuster. But in terms of what they're doing on the defensive side of the ball, I'm a little bit more concerned with that. Just because there was a lack of pass rush in that game against the Pats, and they were trying to do some different things coverage-wise on the back end. They tried to implement a little bit more man coverage. That didn't work out. There was some communication breakdown. There wasn't very good safety play. And when you don't have good safety play, it's hard to play good pass defense. So I'm interested to see how Mike Tomlin gets that group back on track and tries to give them a level of confidence because, I mean, confidence comes from demonstrated performance. You saw what they did against Tom Brady in the Patriots offense on Sunday night. There's nothing that they can take from that game that would make them feel good about going into this game against Russell Wilson and the Seahawks.
So piggyback off that point before I get to who I think is going to win the game. What Pittsburgh has going for them in this football game defensively is Seattle has just shown over the last year plus that they are going to be dedicated to running the football no matter how ineffective they are running the football. The last 2 games they played, the playoff game in week 1, they've run the ball 50 times for less than 150 yards. That is unacceptable in 2019. It would have been unacceptable in 1979. And they're doing it despite the fact that Russell Wilson's their quarterback. So Seattle's limited wide receivers plus their allergy to throwing the football is maybe just what the Steelers secondary needs because Steelers, the one thing they did well in week 1 was stopping the run. Sony Michel, 14 carries, 15 yards for the Patriots. So the Steelers' run defense was actually up to the task. It was every other part of their team that was not. But do I think they bounce back? No, I do not. Do I think the Steelers are a good team this year? No, I do not. Do I think the Steelers are going to have their first losing season under Mike Tomlin? Yes, I do. Right now, we've got to, I think we've got to, I believe we need to get over the brand and just look at the trajectory. It's a 13-win team that flamed out, unfortunately for them, against the Jags 2 years ago, that then lost their star running back and became a 9-win team, that then lost their star wide receiver, and I think now is going to become a 7-win team. This is a team with a quarterback in year 16 who is not getting better, even if you think he's maintaining. The talent around him is getting worse. They have not addressed the defensive issues. Well, they've attempted to address the defensive issues, spent a first-round pick on the star linebacker Devin Bush from Michigan this offseason, and I think he's going to be a really good player. But what do we think the Steelers are going to do great this year? Do we think they're going to have a great running game with James Conner? Well, they haven't since the midway point of last season. Do we think they're going to have an elite passing attack the way they have in years past? Well, that would involve either James Washington or Dante Moncrief or Deontay Johnson, one of those non-Juju Smith-Schuster receivers stepping up. Do we think they're all of a sudden going to have a suffocating defense? They haven't in years. So I don't think they win this game. I think they fall to 0-2. I think Seattle is better than they looked in week 1, and people start questioning how good Pittsburgh actually is.
They don't have a suffocating defense, but they can take advantage of a shaky Seattle offensive line, which we saw. They had a tough line last week, a tough time, even though they got the win. So maybe they can make a couple good stops on defense for Pittsburgh, and it can fuel something for them on offense.
Well, Pittsburgh's passing game is looking at this as a get-right opportunity, too, because the Seahawks, they ain't much better on the back end. They allowed Andy Dalton to have a 400-yard passing game. So
John
we'll
Ross, career day for the track star for Cincinnati against the Seattle defense.
All right, let's move on to the Dallas